This is the Environmental Protection Commission, regular meeting and public hearing, Wednesday, May 1, 2024. The first item of business is a public hearing, EPC number 1, 2024, 20 Marianne Road, N. Da Silva Jr. to demolish an existing structure and construct a new single-family residence, drive, drainage, subsurface sewage disposal system, and other related features proximate to wetlands and watercourses. The property lies along the north side of Marianne Road, approximately 1,115 feet east of Brookside Road, and is identified as map number 1, lot number 91. The zone is R2, and it is approximately 1.19 acres.
Mr. Chairman, we're in receipt. If you remember, we had a public hearing on this matter, session 1, back in March. At the April meeting, the applicant requested a continuance. They have since given us an extension, and again, wish to have a continuance. They're making some basic decisions about the path they're going to take, relating to if they're going to pursue the inland wetlands permit or do a renovation of the house that's outside of regulated areas. So right now, they're in process doing that. And again, we have received correspondence, requesting that they continue it to a date future.
Okay, do we need to vote on the continuance?
No.
We continue on now with new business, EPC 09-2024, 25 Old Kings Highway North, UB Darien LLC to construct an electric charging station, including superchargers, charging posts, switchgear, transformer, and other related features in a special flood hazard area approximate to wetlands and watercourses. The property, which currently supports the Good Life Shopping Center, lies along the east side of Old Kings Highway North, approximately 550 feet south of Brookside Road, and is identified as map number 71, lot number 19. The zone is BC, and it is approximately 9.49 acres.
Mr. Chairman, you've covered what the application is. It made its way to the agenda this evening to start the statutory time clock for review of this application, as well as give you the opportunity to determine if a public hearing is necessary and to solicit some of your preliminary comments, if any of you had the opportunity to review this. Staff has been to the site. There is, it's basically going to be in the parking lot. These charging stations. It goes proximate to a pocket of wetland that was previously not observed, and includes things such as the charging stations in the flood hazard area. There's going to be quite a bit of discussion as to the floodproofing of these items and absence of impact on drainage and landscaping and flood impact as well. So,
Okay, because they have other chargers at the entrance.
they have, I think, one other. These are Tesla chargers, and they're going to be at the second, it's more the exit
Yep.
area.
Mm-hmm.
And again, advanced in that they're the superchargers, that they will charge the vehicle in a short period of time, basically in line with what most people go into the food store and come back out. And it's advanced in that they're sealed units and the mechanicals are elevated. We spent a lot of time talking about making sure that it's most flood resistant as possible.
Well,
I looked at it briefly, so I don't have many questions. But I'm curious, is it for pay or is it a freebie? Or
I
if you have a
kind of think
Tesla?
what you do is you establish an account and you have like a Tesla card and you go up and you
Is that?
insert your Tesla. It's not free.
It's
Oh, it's not free,
definitely
okay.
not free.
Okay, got it.
But it
Oh.
knows who you are when you charge, and
Okay.
so it.
Cool.
debit your account at some point.
Yeah.
Okay. Michael?
I don't have any questions at the moment.
No questions. The only thing that occurred to me is, because that is a flood-prone area, is there some automatic switch-off device that occurs when there's a...
Actually, these are equipped with an automatic disabling kind of feature on it as well. There will also be on this, they have to do it's a switchgear and transformer and switchgear, all gonna be elevated a foot above the base flood. Any conduit's gonna be watertight, resistant to flood damages. So they have thought about it, and again, we've, over the year, have convinced them to come back with something that's a little more advanced than you typically have. And they take into consideration elevation and where the components are stored within it,
Great.
electrical components.
Okay, no other questions. Thank you.
The only thing that's interesting is that it's, you got the Historical Society, one of the oldest things in town, and we're gonna have the high tech right next to it. I mean, it makes no difference to me, but it's kind of curious. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Thank you, ma'am.
I just have one quick comment. On note 7, on the equipment and parking plan, it says that the contractor to coordinate final landscaping finishes with Tesla and owner, and I just think that they should coordinate with you as well, because we generally like to have a little bit of input on the.
We're gonna have them
plan.
submit that.
Okay, okay, I just want to be sure, because who knows what they would come up with, and you know how we feel about the plantings. So, and then the only other thing is on the engineering design survey, it says that a stated area of concern is that the underground utilities are unable to be located within the easement, so I assume that's something they're gonna figure out.
Yes.
That's all I have.
No questions for me.
No question?
I got something to just look back on. So is the culvert, I'm having difficulty with the orientation of this map. Is the culvert at the
Exit side.
the culvert at the turnabout where the Bank of America formerly was located? The culvert to the parking lot? The pipe that gets, when there's a flood, it gets log jammed.
That's the entrance.
Right. The turnaround at the entrance.
Yes.
Has there been any conversation, Rick, about maintaining that? 'Cause This has
We've
been a
had-
complaint of this board, and this might be a good opportunity to have the engineer and the property manager have a regular maintenance plan.
So the applicant is Tesla, and they're of course concerned about their stations. We have been, their charging stations. We have been having conversations, because it's a new owner of the shopping center. We went out and met with them. They're coming up with a proposal to improve the shopping center, rebrand it, renovate. We have talked about channel maintenance, culvert maintenance, what requires permits, what does not, and encouraging them to do drainage improvement. We can talk to see what we can do for like a basic maintenance scheme for the channel, this probably. But again, the focus is on these charging stations, and it's Dewberry out of Boston and Tesla out of wherever they're from. And, but we can do that, I suppose.
Well, I mean, that's well and good. I don't think that the former, then not having any prior knowledge of the new ownership versus the former owner, I think it's fair to say that this commission has had regular complaints about the maintenance of that pipe and the impact during major storm events, what happens there. I mean, we find, not to the extent that they're responsible, but we find lawn chairs, we find tree trunks, we find trees, we find silt buildup.
I've seen shopping carts.
Shopping carts, I mean, basically everything under the kitchen sink, and in my opinion, I don't believe that the former property manager or owner was proactive at the least. So I think this is a precedent to address that issue.
Okay.
Alongside new applications for Tesla chargers.
Okay.
Is the owner, he wants to have this Tesla thing? This is kind of like they're doing a joint thing here, right?
Yes.
Tesla wants to be there, and they want Tesla there. So that's why this makes more sense now that you're saying that. I get it.
I mean, it would behoove them to
Yeah,
address it.
no, that's
so
good. So that they are involved with this permit, not
Their
just.
chargers don't sit
charger
under
system.
water in a flood event.
Right.
But I think it's more along the line of maintenance as opposed to a long-term plan for that area is very comprehensive, and because it should involve
Reason.
the drainage from the parking lot, the water quality controls in the parking lot, the remedies for erosion that's in the channel. It's gonna involve a dredging of the channel. So, I guess I suppose.
Well, I'm
we'll talk
curious
about
to
it and
know,
keep it
does the
distinct.
owner, the new owner, the property manager at Tesla, are they even remotely familiar with the prior
Issues.
History.
storm
The new,
events? and
the new
yeah.
owner is, yes,
Okay,
because we met with him out on the site.
right, okay.
But, by the way, coming up, I guess, in the back of the property, there are entrances of water. Right? So when we start getting a comprehensive plan and you start talking about that, there's water back there too.
Well, there's, at the base of the turnpike embankment,
There's-
there's wetlands.
The water just comes right out.
Right, it's
I mean,
cascading down.
talk about
and the
treating water. I mean,
And the
we're all
base.
very careful.
Yeah.
We're all very careful. If you ever look at these things, it just, anybody who travels along 95 and goes like this, that gets picked up by the water and goes right down.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty disgusting. So,
And ultimately, they're going to want to address
all of
all the
it.
issues.
Okay.
Well,
But-
I'm sorry.
I just think what you should do is express to the owner that we're interested in hearing what he has to do and what he has to say, because we encourage him to.
Why wouldn't we make that a condition to the approval of the application, would be a comprehensive plan to maintain the property, protect the wetlands, and et cetera?
I personally, I think that you have to keep it in scale with what the proposal is at this time. We're not talking about, you said, a comprehensive plan. I think comprehensive plan touches on all those things that we talked about, as opposed to 12 charging stations. And it's something that we should be, I think, encouraging as well, too. But doing it in a manner that's going to protect the wetlands, but also be cognizant of the, flood impacts and flood rise, and making sure there's no flood damages. I think my preference would be a comprehensive plan would be linked to a comprehensive improvement plan, comprehensive maintenance plan, a comprehensive improvement plan.
I'm just not sure that the applicant and the EPC's motives are aligned. I'll leave it at that. I'll take that back. I think we have their attention. While we have their attention, we make the most of it, because who's to say, okay, well, we got our, just candidly speaking, we have our Tesla charges. We're no longer interested in a maintenance plan.
That would, since they're new owners, and they've been under discussion with Jeremy to renovate Goodwife Shopping Plaza, because that has been there, Bill, since you and I were around, right?
Long time.
A long time. It looks tired, and they need to,
Well, that's information you're just sharing. Thank
So,
you.
okay, that, why would you buy it otherwise? Unless the guy had to, but anyway. I think I agree with Rick is that, they're asking for 12 charging stations, and we're gonna go, no, you have to come up with a plan for the 9.49 acres.
Oh, I'm not.
Is that
speaking-
overreaching?
I'm not speaking to the entire property. I'm speaking to maintaining of that water course.
All right, we'll ask them for, like a certain, kind of a basic maintenance plan and schedule for the water course.
Mm-hmm.
That seems fair.
Okay. Anybody else on this topic? Okay, moving on, EPC 10, 2024. 2420 Boston Post Road, the YMCA of Darien, to replace and expand an existing concrete boat ramp and concrete dock foundation in and approximate to Holly Pond and other areas of resource. The property, which currently supports the building's parking and other related facilities for the YMCA, lies along the south side of the Boston Post Road, approximately 550 feet west of Seagate Road, and is identified as map number 53, lot number 60. The zone is R1/2, and it is approximately 7.02 acres.
Mr. Chairman, again, this application has made its way to the commission this evening. The regulated area is Holly Pond, which we maintain a 100-foot setback to. The activity is, there's two pieces to it. There is a concrete boat ramp that they're proposing to replace, and there is an existing dock, and the foundation of which it holds it to the land is proposed to be maintained and replaced as well. Again, made its way to the agenda this evening, start the statutory time clock, determine if a public hearing is warranted, and to solicit comments on the information we need to move forward. I've been there, I can tell you that there's going to be quite a bit of information because you have to look at construction practice, erosion controls, drainage impact, flood impact, flood preparedness, not preparedness, but flood design, and other related matters. So it'll be a comprehensive list.
Okay.
Yeah, I live right there, so it's right in my backyard. Yeah, Deep hasn't chimed in yet either, I noticed, in the applications, which they will
Army
have.
Corps has chimed in.
Who has? Sorry?
The Army Corps.
I saw Army Corps, but Deep has not.
Deep has not,
Yeah.
and that'll be, there's our permitting, there will be deep approval or permitting authorization, we'll have to see yet. And then it goes before the planning and zoning for flood damage prevention and coastal site plan review. Multiple layers of review.
Yeah, what I see is not a problem. They are extending out 8 more feet, but that doesn't seem to have much impact. And it is just, I've been told by their manager, just for the YMCA programs. This is not open to others.
How much use does it get, though?
Sorry?
How much use does it get?
All the time during summer, but it's just catamarans, stand-up paddleboards, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Because they have a very steep grade going down except for that one section. So it's very important for them to have that, and I see nothing wrong with it.
Michael?
No questions or comments, thank you.
No questions.
I don't really have any questions right now. I will eventually, but I thought that the project narrative was laid out pretty well. They seem to address a lot of different areas, and I'm sure that when we get into it a little bit more, I'll have some questions.
Yep, same, no questions.
Okay. Okay, the last one here is EPC 11-2024, 6 Great Island Road and Open Space B, and 0 LNPR LLC. To install a living fence, perimeter fence, walls, and landscaping in or within close proximity to inland wetlands, special flood hazard areas, and conservation easement areas. The affected properties generally lie along the east side of Long Neck Point Road at the terminus of Great Island Private and have been identified as follows. 6 Great Island Road, map number 58, lot number 1-I, which is plus or minus 1.98 acres. And the zone is R1, and that's 0 LNPR LLC. The other one is Open Space B, map 58, lot 58B, aka Open Space B. It is approximately 6.81 acres. The zone is R1, and it's the Great Island Property Owners Association, Inc.
Mr. Chairman, the application, as the two previous ones, made its way to the agenda to start the statutory time clock for review and determine if a public hearing would seem warranted, and to solicit at least your preliminary comments. If you recall, when the commission reviewed the new accessway road to Great Island, it ends in a terminus, a turnaround. This area is alongside the causeway alongside the road, the Causeway Road, between that and there's an existing stone wall there. And these owners, including the owner that purchased the adjoining parcels, wants to do landscaping and this living fence. And the living fence is being chosen because of the narrowness of the area which they can work. And the living fence, it was essentially a series of poles with some netting on them, and they're going to plant them with climbing vines. And the purpose is to provide some screening as they develop or renovate their parcel and utilize their parcel. It will be screening to a portion of the causeway where the traffic will be going up. They have a very comprehensive plan. That's the focus of what we'll be looking on. If you recall, around that terminus, there's one side of the terminus is inland wetlands, the other side is tidal wetlands, and it's just by virtue of the fact that this living fence is being proposed within 50 feet of the inland wetlands, which happens to be on the other side of the paved roadway and shoulder, etc. So
How tall a fence?
Yeah.
I think it's
8 feet.
Is it 6 or 8 feet?
8 feet.
Yeah. And it's being done in combination with landscaping. So, and I think I was of the opinion that landscaping may not have needed to come, if they were just doing that grade landscaping, may not have needed to come back to the commission, but because the fence is really a structure in there that it should secure the agency's approval. But they put a lot of thought into it. They have, will be, soliciting your comments. They have a planting scheme and what you think about the plantings and native, non-native, et cetera.
Who's doing the?
West Stout.
Oh, West Stout?
Yeah.
I got a real problem with it. That causeway is magnificent. And the ability to walk down that causeway or eventually drive down that causeway and see out over that vista is spectacular. Now we're going to have the I-95 barrier right in your face because they're putting it right on that causeway. You will not be able to see through it. They're using it's going to protect the wildlife from coming across there. It's actually constricting a corridor for wildlife. And I don't understand. Hopefully we didn't get bamboozled when we just agreed to that easement change, that now they can do that little maneuver. Because
No, it's coming in front of us, so.
Because that should be back on their property, not in that zone right there. We spent so much time at this beautiful place, but now they're going to just wall that whole section off. It's terrible. So that's my opinion.
Mhm.
I think that's a very thoughtful comment, and I don't have any other. Thank you.
I agree with Bill. I would ask, is this also going to go to planning and zoning? And the second part of that question is, isn't there a limit on the height of fences in town?
Under certain circumstances,
Yeah.
mostly around, like roadways. Zoning does not regulate, doesn't permit fences, require permits for fences. But they do have some rules written in their regulations concerning height.
Isn't it 6 feet?
It depends. It depends where it is relative to like corners on roadways and those kinds of things.
I think we have a maximum fence allotment though, right?
Well, something we can check. You can follow up on that, because 6 or 8 feet makes a big difference. So,
Okay, yep, got it. And I think the height also has affects like the necessity of a building permit too, if it's over a certain height and a certain construction. So I'll check on that.
Yeah, I mean, my general feeling is that also this is a nature corridor. And if it is subject to the easement, that's even further proof that it's a nature corridor. So, we've talked so many times about fencing, but this would be a very objectionable fence, in my opinion.
Carol?
I just want to address the plant material that they recommended, because they make a point of saying that they're native New England plants that are hardy and require little maintenance. I don't have a problem so much with the Virginia creeper, and this is irrespective of what has been discussed about the fence, but despite the name, the Boston ivy is not native. It's actually, it's not a native plant, it's not a native vine, and I just get very nervous, you know, in a beautiful, you know, area like this, introducing ivy. I think there are better native alternatives, so I would object to that particular plant. And that's all I have for right now.
So we're gonna ask for a discussion of alternatives, which even could be to provide your screen and other portions of the properties.
Basically off the easement and on their property would be nice.
Yeah, can you provide a little bit more details on the easement? I was a little confused as to how they're kind of getting around that. How does that work when you're done?
Yeah, I don't know what you mean, but you know, whatever questions you have, I can research it. I mean, it was a conservation easement, and there was a proposal which there was modifications that were incorporated into the easement to ensure that it all worked with access for the town property. I have to look further into the easement document itself, and we could produce that and we can scrutinize it.
Just for the benefit of everybody, Section 362 of the zoning regulations for the town of Darien stipulates that the maximum height requirement for a fence in a front yard is 4 feet, and the maximum side and rear yard fence height is 6 feet.
That's what I thought, yeah.
The only other comments I have is obviously I want to go to public hearing. But my biggest concern is how do the town people, who are the landowners, going to be notified and understand what this is all about? Because they've been going down there, they're loving this whole thing, and then one day, all of a sudden this appears, they're going to be really annoyed. So how do we get them to understand this public hearing is what it's really all about? And, you know, do we go to the Commission of Great Island? Are they worked pretty heavily with these people. I don't know if maybe they're all for that fence, I don't know. But that's what concerns me, is that we're the applicants, everybody in town, and they need to know and understand that they maybe need to be involved with this public hearing, and they're not gonna know that.
So the only way that you can do that is if you have a public hearing, there's notice requirement for 100 feet around, you know, the parcel.
Right.
Planning board, planning and zoning is gonna have a public hearing on it as well. So, and theirs is a little more a little more expansive, because it involves some of the other portions of the property with, you know, what they want to achieve. But you certainly can decide. I mean, there'll be notice in the newspaper if we have a public hearing. There'll be
It's the first time we've
direct
had
notice.
this, we're taxpayers here now, and I wanna make sure everybody gets to know, because it's coming to us first, what they're looking at over there. And I don't know how to do that, so I'm just throwing that out. And the other piece is that, as an LLC, can they not put the names of the people that are on the LLC that we know who they are and who are the association members? I always hate people that hide behind those things. I mean, they're the applicants, not an LLC, not an association. Can't we ask them to have their names listed?
I'm thinking no.
Really?
I mean, I would think that they're gonna go from what's on the tax record. So there'll be some representation you know, when they get the
hiding.
notice.
Okay. The other piece is, how does DEEP fall into this? Because a lot of their stuff is, they're wildlife specialists, they've got this buffer area where the water is, the Long Island Sound meets. They should be also weigh in on this, I would think.
So there is a referral process, because they're gonna have planning and zoning, and I'm thinking as coastal permits, that the DEP gets notice, and they provide comment.
Okay.
We typically do not do that. because we're,
But we sometimes,
We're dealing with
we don't often,
wetlands.
we never reach out to them as a EPC to deep saying, hey, this is something maybe we'd like you guys to look into. We have to wait for planning and zoning to do that.
I mean, I suppose we could, we could just check them into,
This is such a hot topic for everybody in this town. That's why I'm just
No, I
worried about it.
100% agree with you that it's got to be a public hearing.
Yeah, but-
Because it's Great Island,
but people
okay?
have to know what it's all about.
And the fence. I'm not sure how everybody else feels about this, but I would support a public hearing because this is clearly in the public interest. Having walked this, I don't know how many times, you know.
But I think if people saw the picture that we got and realized there's going to be a fence between that stone wall and the road going up 8 feet, they'd all go crazy. And I don't think people are going to know that, you know.
Well,
I don't know how
well, one
that's
is,
gonna get out.
well, one is we can throw the town regulations at them and say it's 6 feet, okay, because Michael just read it. And so, I mean, that's it. I just think, I totally agree. I think it should be a public hearing. Let's get everybody at this.
But I
And
think
so-
that we ought to take one more step somehow in our internal government people, our professionals, planning and zoning, the Commission for Great Island, they all need to be on top of this piece and let them also disseminate it out to other people. This, getting our little piece in the paper, no one's gonna know. It's gotta go through our town government to say, hey, this is what we just
Those
spent.
meetings are recorded too on
Yeah,
79, so.
we just spent all this money to buy it, now you're gonna take that beautiful walk down there and you're gonna be slammed with a fence 2 feet from your face.
Yeah?
I don't, well, to your point, Bill, when Corbin District was submitting its applications, or Baywater was submitting its applications for the Corbin development, didn't the planning and zoning website have its own special section? And I don't know if our P and Z website has a new special section for Great Island, but I mean, all of us could call Jeremy or whomever, or Rick, say, hey, maybe it makes sense now to have a special section. If I was a resident and we know that we're doing something over there, we might occasionally hit that website and just see all the documentation, applications or key talking points start to populate so we can follow what's going on, to your point.
And I got one other comment. I know I've been dominating this conversation because it bothers me. We go out of our way sometimes to hire a professional engineer. Land Tech has said, not a problem, this is fine. It's good for the wildlife not to see us. It's good for the wildlife to be in a corridor. The only way we can counter a professional is to hire a professional. And I think that we might have to do that because he's already put that in there and they've already quoted it 2 or 3 times in their application. A professional said it's a great thing to have. And we have to counter that with a pro. I'll stop.
Okay.
so what I would do then is you need to vote to have a public hearing. There will be reason why, it'll be in the public interest.
Mhm.
And we can identify, we're going to identify the things that we need to move forward with the review of the application. And we'll hit all these.
Peter, you want to make a motion?
Sure, I'd like to make a motion on EPC 11-20246 Great Island Road, Open Space B, applicant 0LNPR LLC. And the motion is to have a public hearing with respect to this application on the basis of substantial public interest.
Have a second?
I make a second to hold a public hearing on PL 2466 for the reason that Peter
Yeah.
mentioned, the public interest.
All in favor of having a public hearing? Thank you. Is there any further discussion on this one? Okay. Moving on to old business. EPC-33-2023, 19 Brush Island Road, M. Gaudino, to construct a fixed pile-supported pier with steps and removable floating dock in an approximate Wally Pond and other areas of resource. The property lies along the north side of Brush Island Road, approximately 1,200 feet west of Neil Water Lane, and is identified as map number 56, lot number 20. The zone is R1, and it is approximately 2.165 acres. I believe everybody's gotten a copy of the resolution. And I guess you've received Jim Millard's.
Yes, they have not been incorporated into it, but they will be.
Okay. Would anybody else like to make any questions or comments on this one? Okay.
Okay, make a motion to approve the permit, EPC 33-2023, 19 Brush Island Road, subject to the changes presented by Jim Millard.
I make a motion to second EPC number 33-2023.
All in favor?
Abstain.
So that's 501. Rick, okay. Moving on, the next one is EPC 2-2024, 12 Libby Lane, J. Dolce and J. Dolce, to remove and alter vegetation, regrade, install/replace drainage structures, construct a patio, install a wall, regrade and repave a driveway, landscape, and implement other related activities in and approximate to the wetlands and watercourses. Property lies along the west side of Libby Lane, approximately 450 feet north of Middlesex Road, and is identified as map number 9, lot number 54. The zone is R1, and it is approximately 1.01 acres. The members of the commission should have received a draft of the resolution, and I'm sure Jim gave you his comments.
Yep.
Okay, so if there's anybody else, does any member have a questions or comments for?
I just have one thing. Condition number 3, Rick specifies that the maintenance plan will be changed. I forgot what the exact wording was, but I think we wanted to make sure that it says shall instead of should throughout, to make it consistent. It's just a stronger,
Okay.
That's the Lauren
yeah.
comment.
Yes, yeah.
Sorry, Lauren.
The Lauren amendment.
The Lord amendment.
So operations and maintenance plan shall be updated to include well-defined maintenance responsibilities.
Right,
So that's
yeah.
the shall, should.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything?
Can you make a motion to approve the permit related to EPC 02-202412 Libby Lane, subject to the amendments by Commissioners Bain and Millard?
I make I second the motion to approve EPC 02-2024 for 12 Libby Lane.
All in favor? Abstained? 501. Okay, next is EPC 03-2024, 62 St. Nicholas Road, J Grills and T Grills, to demolish an existing detached garage and construct a new pool house, drainage, and other related features approximate to the wetlands and watercourses. The property lies along the south side of St. Nicholas Road, approximately 1,900 feet west of Mansfield Avenue, and is identified as map number 06, lot 88. The zone is R2, and it is approximately 2.02 acres. The commission member should have received a copy of the resolution. Does anyone have questions or comments on this one?
I do.
Okay.
I just wanted to clarify something. Under conditions, number 3, it says all final plans and reports shall be subject to the review and approval of EPC staff prior to the start of any site activity and issuance of any zoning building permits. Note that pertinent modifications include the following, and it relates to the wetland buffer restoration plan. And it says to include an expanded buffer to the wetland, a firm limit of manicured lawn and manicured landscape, and details of a suitable boulder demarcation feature. So I just want to clarify, it will be more robust than what was on this plan.
That's what I think, it should be more robust.
Yeah, and it's subject to you'll approve it. Okay, I just wanted to be sure of that, because this, to me, for, a prior encroachment is not sufficient. And that's all I have.
Anyone else?
I'm
yes.
sorry, we're not doing anything about the fence there, right? Is that,
Fence in place,
There was
he had a
nothing-
landscaping plan for the internal portion of it.
Right.
We're saying modify the planting plan to make it more robust, have a buffer to the wetland detail. They already proposed to do a demarcation, but detail what's it gonna be like. And,
So in other words, there's gonna be a buffer along the whole length of the fence.
Well, you should tell me, is it just around the wetland? Will it increase the buffer to some number of feet?
I mean, right here, the fence runs right along the line for the wetland. I think there should be a buffer here, and this is the wetland. I think there should be a little buffer in front of there, I think, and there should be boulders or some sort of, split rail
Well, if you
fence.
know that they did propose boulders, but they're not depicted on this, so I'm saying they should actually depict where they're gonna put them.
Yes, yeah. I just think it needs to be more robust than this because the lawn goes right up until the wetland.
But the fence that they didn't get the permit for, it wasn't like 2 inches off the ground, and it was, in
In
that
the
area,
wetland,
yeah, in the wetlands. But we're not going to ask for any changes to the fence, right? That's
I mean, if
just
you're gonna
something-
do the planting plan, what has been
Then that's-
discussed is
okay.
leaving it in place. There was quite a bit of discussion about, did they have permission, did they not have permission? Was it permission that was not documented? So there was quite a bit back and forth in that staff could not find documentation, wasn't on the development plans, but, it appeared like around 2017 when we saw an as-built plan. So I think the compromise was allow it to remain, plant the internal, inside portions of it, and then the commission members said, maybe come back with a more robust plan and address some of these other areas.
Because, I mean, if they were coming to us today, if for an existing fence and wanting to get approval for it, we would require them to do a wetland buffer all along the fence and to mark it so that it doesn't get made into lawn again.
Yep.
So,
Good point.
Anything else, Carol?
no, I just, but to me, that is the only way that I will, support it.
Okay, anybody else have anything more? Anybody? Okay, Peter?
Okay, motion to approve EPC 03-2024, 62 St. Nicholas Road. Approve the permit, subject to the commentary by Commissioner Bing.
I second the motion to approve EPC 03-2024 for 62 St. Nicholas Road.
All in favor? 501. Thank you. Moving on, EPC 04-2024, 5 Meadow Road, H. Boyle and H. Boyle, to construct patios, drainage, related features approximately the wetlands and watercourses. Property lies along the east side of Meadow Road, approximately 500 feet north of Old Farm Road, and is identified as map number 65, lot number 26. The zone is R1, and it is approximately 1.679 acres. Does any of the commissioners have questions, comments on this resolution? Carolyn?
I just had a question, sorry. Under condition number 6, where you underline sediment and erosion control, tree protection and construction control requirements shall be strictly enforced. Was there a reason why you emphasized that? I don't normally notice that that's underlined.
I mean, I think I do it most times.
Okay.
I think most times I.
I just didn't know if there was a particular
No, there was a
issue with
particular
this,
reason.
with this application.
No, I mean, although, we've already been out there one time to have them remedy some of the
Okay.
erosion controls, but it wasn't done for any particular reason.
Okay, I just happened to notice it and wondered about it.
That's what it was.
That's all I have.
Okay. Peter?
Okay, motion to approve EPC 04-2024, 5 Meadow Road. Approve the permit.
I second EPC 04-2024 for 5 Meadowbrook Road.
All in favor? 501. Thank you. The next one is EPC 05-2024, Hanson Road, Town of Darien, Department of Public Works, replacement of the Hanson Road Bridge over Stony Brook. to remove an existing bridge, construct a replacement culvert, wing walls, utilities, timber, guide rails, channel enhancements, and other related activities in and approximate to the wetlands, water courses, and special flood hazard areas. The property lies along a reach of Hanson Road, generally bordered by Linda Lane to the east, Hummingbird Lane to the west. The properties nearest the area include 410 Hollow Tree Ridge Road, 88 Hanson Road, and 100 Hanson Road. The commission members should have received a copy of the resolution. Are there any questions or comments? Go ahead. You're taking Bill's place, by the way. You know.
Thank you.
Bill has a little competition here. So.
Well, this is a good comment. I'm actually going to paraphrase Jim Millard because he had said at the last meeting that he thought this was a very well laid out plan, and I agree that it was. I think it was a very I think it's a complicated project in the sense that, you know, it involves you know, a very busy road. It involves neighboring properties. It needed the approval of the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, and I think this one also had the Army Corps of Engineers. And I feel that it was laid out very well, easier for us to understand, and you know, they had a flood contingency plan, and you know, though there is some tree removal, they seem to have a very robust planting plan of native plants, and they worked to resolve the issues that the neighbors were concerned with. So I just think it was well done.
That was all staff's doing.
Pardon?
That was all staff's doing.
Oh.
I'll tell the 4 engineers. That commented on that. Anyone else have anything? Peter?
Nope, make a motion to approve the permit related to EPC 05-2024 Hanson Road, Town of Darien. Department of Public Works replacement of Hanson Road Bridge over Stony Brook.
I second EPC 05-2024 for Hanson Road Bridge.
All in favor? 501. Thank you. Next one is EPC 06-2024, 106 Stephen Mather Road, N. Checketts, to construct a residential addition and related improvements proximate to the wetlands and water courses. Property lies along the south side of Stephen Mather Road, just east of Maplewood Drive, and is identified as map number 1, lot number 29. The zone is R2, and it is approximately 2.341 acres. All the commission members should have received a copy of the resolution. Is there anyone who would like to speak on this?
I have a good thing to say. Again, I like that you got them to agree to a written report after 1 year on the plantings to make sure that they survive, and the recurrence of the invasives, because I think this is the one that has the Phragmites and the pocket wetland, and to make sure that they, you know, because they're hard to eradicate. So the fact that they have to report back to you whether these plants survive and the invasives stay away, I think is good. And it has a more robust wetland buffer plan than what was originally approved in 2021. So I think it's good.
Good.
I'm happy with it.
Anyone else? Next speak. Peter?
Okay, make a motion to approve the permit related to EPC 06-2024-106 Stephen Mather Road.
I second EPC 06-2024 for 106 Stephen Mather Road.
All in favor? Okay. 501. Now we get to the approval of minutes. We have the March 6, 2024 regular meeting minutes. Are there every member should have received a copy of those. Any questions or comments on them?
None.
You're not even going to compliment how well they were written?
Well, they were, but they're always well written, so.
There you go. Okay, since there's no other questions or comments, Peter?
Okay, so I'll do this as approval of both minutes. Making a motion to approve the minutes of March 6, 2024, the regular meeting of the Environmental Protection Commission, and also the minutes of March 19th, 2024, the special meeting and public hearing of the EPC.
And I second the motion to approve the minutes from the March 6th, EPC March 6th, 2024 meeting and the March 19th special meeting and public hearing.
All in favor? 501, thank you. There's no agent business. Other business, EPC 14-2019, 16 Stony Brook Road South, T. Ritchie and D. Ritchie to construct an in-ground pool patio fence, equipment drainage, and other related features in and approximate to wetlands, watercourses, and special flood hazard areas. Property lies along the east side of Stony Brook Road South, approximately 575 feet south of Stony Brook Road, and is identified as map number 19, lot number 20. The zone is R1. It is approximately 1.31 acres.
Mr. Chairman, we had a request for an extension of permit. The staff has inspected the property. The conditions have not changed on the property. Actually, they've gotten, I think, perhaps better than was originally shown on the plan, with some number of encroachments have been removed with sheds and so forth. So the conditions have not changed. There's nothing there to warrant a reevaluation of the permit. It would recommend, in a manner consistent with our prior decisions on extensions, we do it for 3 years.
Is there a reason? COVID's a little over. So is there a reason that they requested it back in 19 and for whatever other reason couldn't get around to it in 5 years?
I don't, they didn't report why they didn't build it, but they wanted to preserve their rights to construct it. So it had the pool plan, a drainage plan that had been endorsed by the outside consultants. It got the condition of the board's approval. It had landscape elements associated with it, and so they did not report why they did not build it in the initial 5-year period.
So all I want to do is preserve the right to do it.
So can I ask a question? So we have to go back 3 years from now, we have to go back and review it all again, put our time and energy back in it because we'll all forgotten. Do they get charged for anything second time around?
Do we charge for anything?
Did we charge them? Because now, 3
No,
years later, we're going to have to go
It's
through the
only
whole
for an
process.
extension. So we do not charge for permit extensions.
Okay.
And again, this is just the reason why we do it for this commission's been doing it for 3-year periods, is that giving staff the opportunity to go back and review and see again if conditions have changed,
Okay.
if there's pending there's no reported violations or observed violations on the property. So,
Okay.
Is there a
Do we need to vote?
yes, approve the extension for.
Okay, this is a motion to approve the permit
Sorry,
extension.
just a second,
Yep, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, I had a question. So are we allowed, do we have to, approve it yes or no based on what's existing, or can we make any suggestions to change it a bit?
It's as is.
It is as is?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It would be unfair to start changing conditions of an approval.
Right, but I mean, I wasn't on the commission when it was approved, and there were a couple little issues that I had with it.
You really can't change it.
You can't change it.
Well, that's why they have to come back for an extension, is because you have no prior knowledge of the application up until now.
Right.
Is there a statutory timeframe that we have to vote on this tonight, just out of curiosity? Like, could we reschedule the voting of an extension to next month's meeting?
For the purpose of?
If we had questions about, but let's just say we wanted a further elaboration as to the reason for the extension. Because I can think of a reason why, which probably doesn't have to do with this application. If I was a developer and I had a piece of property and I was contemplating on building a house or a house with a pool, because people like to buy houses with pools now, I wouldn't want to relinquish that right to sell the property with permits approved for that pool, right? But if, to our chairman's point, COVID is over, and an engineer writes a letter and says we want to extend it, I think the board would want to know what's the reason for the extension?
Well, I think legally they have a right to extend it. They have a legal right to request it. I mean, every family has their own personal circumstances that, I don't know if I have a right to know, okay, that says, you know, we just don't know. That there could have been an illness in the family, there could have been, a job change, but then now they're back. You know, everybody's life is sort of different. And so I was wondering if he knew, but, I don't, sit there and say if somebody wants a request, somebody wants a request. I'm not gonna go and say, hey, no, I have to know the reason you want a request in order to.
No, I'm not trying to get in the weeds on this. I'm just saying, hey, look, staff has to keep this in the tickler file, right? So is this something that's ultimately going to happen, or is this just the ask to, hey, let's just continue to extend the application?
Well, what do you think Marianne Road was? Marianne Road was, he kept his application open, but he's very clearly thinking of doing other stuff. Okay, he's very considering, he had a proposal to us, and I think we were critical of his proposal. He went back and said, maybe I can come up with a plan B that is more acceptable, but I'm not ready to present it. Okay, and so, but he wants to keep this application, want to keep the application open in order not to have to reapply. So, I think there are reasons for that. I agree with you. I don't like to keep things open forever. Is there a reason we choose 3 and not 2 or 1?
No, I mean, actually, the in the post-COVID era, the legislature said that these things can be extended up to, has to do with timeframes. It was issued between this date and this date, or this date and this date. It can be effective for between 14 and 19 years. So,
That makes sense.
in this case, I do get the opportunity, and you said we don't have to keep it in a tickler file, the applicant has to keep it in a tickler file, is to come back in 3 years, and then you have the opportunity to go out and see if conditions have changed out there. Like I said, in this one, they did a pretty good job in maintaining this property and have made it better over time, got rid of sheds and those kinds of things. And, we just encourage them to continue doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But, there may be a lot less flexibility in terms of granting these approvals where the legislature said,
Yeah.
get it back 14 years,
I mean, so if we were to say, no, let's take the extreme example, we say no. They could go back and go. State legislatures give us automatic permission, judge, therefore, I would like you to overrule Darien EPC because the state legislature gave us 9 to 14 years, whatever it was.
Yeah, so I mean,
So this is perfunctory.
I went back and looked what we did on some of the other ones, and I think we had initially said 2 years, and then the commission came up and said, 3 years seems fair and in line with what we've done before. So I tried to be consistent.
Okay.
And I think, I can't find it right now, but I think somewhere in our regulations, it does say that people do have a right to extend their permit if they don't, if their project doesn't go forward.
Yes, they have a right to, okay. I'll trust the lawyer and Peter here,
Yeah.
okay? Because
I
I'm
may
not a
be
lawyer.
wrong, but I thought I had read that.
I'm not a lawyer licensed in the state of Connecticut, like some. Okay, but I can say, yes,
I'm
they have a
not
right
either.
to ask, but we also have a right to know.
Yeah, true.
Okay, so it's like,
Yeah.
they can extend it, and they're asking for it, and that's one of the reasons that the state legislature, and I think that's one of the things that we're gonna have to look at in our regs, because the state legislature has essentially overruled all of the environmental protection boards and commissions by saying, no, because of COVID or whatever. I remember in 2008, there was also extension of all the permits, correct?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so it sort of overrules, effectively, this becomes a rubber stamp. Okay, so, because the state legislature said so.
But this is a good
fair.
situation, this is a good situation where the project was not, better situation, where the project was not started in, the project, you don't want a project going on for 25 years or 19 years or whatever it is. This is not started, and all they're doing is preserving their
legal right
rights
to do
for the permit, so 2 years down the road.
Anyway, we have a motion on the floor. Okay,
Make a motion, EPC, to extend the permit for EPC 14-2019-16 Stony Brook Road South.
I make a motion to second EPC 14-2019 to extend the permit for, is it C Stony Brook Road?
16.
16 Stony Brook Road.
All in favor? Thank you very much. Peter, motion to adjourn?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the regular and public meeting, Wednesday, May 1st.
Thank you. Channel 79, we're...
Second that. We have to
No,
vote.
all in favor?
Adjourn.
Channel 79, we're off the air. Thank you.